gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Dimensions podcast. As always, I am your host, Smitty, back with another one. And as always, I'm excited to bring you this episode. This episode has been, let's say 30 years, going on 31 years in the making. And the reason I say that is because this episode is part of a series that I've been doing, and I don't even know the frequency of it, but it comes when it comes. It's almost like Kendrick Lamar. He got the heart part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, right? Not saying I'm him, but I'm him. And this is my mental health journey part 3. You know, part 1 was my first episode. That was in 2020. Man, time flies. 4 years ago. So that was November 2020. Then I did my mental health journey part 2 is actually on the landing page of my website. And that was, and I had to go back and look it up. It was October 2022. And I was like, man, we need to do a part 3. So that's what we're getting into today. Welcome all. Hit that subscribe button before we get started. Don't forget to like the video, share it with somebody you love, rate it 5 stars. And if you're back again, you're here for a reason. So share it with somebody you love, man. But all that aside, housekeeping things first. I'm getting out of order here because I'm excited, right? I got my notes and everything this time. But first things first, mental health cookout August 10th. Y'all know what's coming. It's going to be great. It's going to be dope. Your boy is on the grill. We have a panel discussion, guest speakers, presenters, food, games, everything you need. And we're giving away an award this year. So that's dope. I'm excited about that. There's a lot of big things shaking and moving with that cookout. And I want to see y'all there. You know, I've been working really hard, diligently, if you will, to reach men and meet them where they are. And what better way to meet men where they are than with a cookout? And there's no pressure. Like I know last year, a lot of people were like, well, if I show up to this cookout, doesn't mean I have mental health issues. No, it just means you're supporting a cause. Do I have to share things and open up and be vulnerable at this cookout? No, you just got to come hang out and have a burger. If you make it a regular cookout for you, it's a regular cookout for you. If it's something that you come to and you're like, yeah, I want to get something out of it, you 1000% will get something out of it. There will be resources there. There will be information there. There will be discussion there. Last year we laughed and we cried. It was a lot. You know, it was beautiful. And I know everybody took something away from it. And everyone who was there last year, I promise you, they've been hitting me like, yo, I'm excited to be back this year. I want to be on the panel again. I want to do this again, like what we doing. And there are people who I've met along the way that I've been like, bro, I'm excited, whatever you need, I got you, blah, 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 that are like willing to contribute to this thing to make it happen. And a lot of people who I'm going to acknowledge in their own separate way that have really been pushing this cookout and helping this cookout. There is a lot of women behind the scenes. You know, when they say behind every great man is a woman, you know, a great woman helping to make things. There is a lot of women who support your boy and support this cause. And I appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart, dog. And y'all know who y'all are, but I'm going to give y'all own special acknowledgement when the time is right. When we get closer to that date, y'all might get gifts from me because like y'all really be holding it down for real. And I don't know where I'd be without a lot of y'all. So thank you. But pull up to the cookout. Tell your boyfriend, your ex, your toxic ex, tell your baby daddy, your brother with the anger issues, that weird uncle that you know probably got ADHD or something crazy, like whatever it may be. Just tell everybody, whoever you know, the dude with the anger issues that be hitting walls, your friend that can't stay out the club, all of them. Tell them to come. Everybody show up. Well, one size fits all at this cookout. Everybody pull up, man. But I'm excited about that. It's August 10th. You can get the tickets at jordanspeaking.com. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share it with everybody. So that's the cookout. Later this month, July 30th, your boy is back on the road. I'm actually going to my farthest booking to date. I looked on the GPS ahead of time and I said, boy, that's far. Had to reflect it in the price. But I will be speaking with the YMCA of Greater Hartford for their leadership and training program. And that will be taking place at Camp Woodstock, which is in that if you look at a map of Connecticut, some of y'all probably already know where it is because you've been there. It is in that corner of Connecticut where Massachusetts Rhode Island and Connecticut kind of meet each other in that tri-state area we don't acknowledge. It's in that area. It's past Yukon, so it's far. It's a distance. It's about 90 minutes. It's a lot. Now, if you're from a different state that's bigger, you're from Texas, 90 minutes don't mean nothing. But for me in Connecticut, 90 minutes, I'm on the other side of the state. That's a lot for me. But I'm excited to go. It's with some teenagers, age 15 to 17, leadership and training program. We talking about leadership. We talking about values. We talking about morals, respect, the whole nine. I'm excited about it, man. And something about that group. You know what's interesting for me as someone who worked with teenagers and kids, like, that is the most intimidating group for me to work with because they're so unpredictable, but it is the most rewarding group to work with because they show that excitement on their face. Like, they can't hold glass in the water, man. Like, whatever they feeling, you're going to see it on their face. And it's almost like an instant reward for when you know you hitting a nail on the head, when you're doing something right. So it's like, but it's like, if you're not doing it right, they are going to let you know and let you know quick, fast, and in a hurry. So it's like, I love that demographic, but at the same time, that is my most intimidating demographic. I will get in a room full of anybody else. Doesn't matter who it is, doctors, lawyers, politicians. It could be the president. He might be asleep when I'm talking, but it could be the president. It's not going to intimidate me. None of that scares me. I will talk to anybody. I will go anywhere. But when it comes to talking to teenagers and kids, it's like, y'all better like me. You know what I'm saying? Because they are ruthless. But when they love you, and they love hard, man. So it's dope. So that is July 30th. I'll be at Camp Woodstock. We may be working something out where I'm at a different camp with them too. We get a little twofer. So yeah, we on the road, man. We're still speaking. We're still doing great things. We still do trainings. We do a little bit of everything out here, man. But I'm excited because it's all in the name of mental health. It's all in the name of personal growth and advancement. And we're making that impact everywhere we go. That impact is felt. That message is delivered and lives are changed forever. So I might clip that. That was kind of profound. And then the last thing before we get into this mental health episode is life coaching. So as many of you know, I am now offering life coaching services. I am a life coach. You can sign up for those services on my website. You can fill out an inquiry form. We can get you connected. We can start serving you. Couple of caveats. I do only work with adults. I do not work with teens and kids. That is not my wheelhouse, but I can point you to someone where that is their wheelhouse. We also offer faith-based coaching services. So if you're someone, and this is a lot of people, who has been looking for services, looking for someone to talk to, but you want an element of faith, or you want, God to be involved. You want Jesus to be involved in this process. And you want that to be something that like helps you move forward. That is something that I offer as well. I think that's one of the coolest things I offer because it's like, you got to have both. You got to have that counseling, and you got to have Jesus. And like, that's been my life. So we do offer that as well. And yeah, bookings are open. You can actually go on Google. It's cool. You can Google me, but Jordan Speaking LLC or Jordan Speaking Life Coaching or Life Coaching near me. If you're in the Bridgeport area, I will pop up and you can get connected right there. My hours are there. My contact information is there. The website is there. All the information that you need. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly at dailydimensions@gmail.com. And yeah, I'm excited, man. We gonna start pushing this thing a lot further because I haven't really promoted it outside of sitting here talking to y'all. It's not something that I've pushed a lot, but you will see that reflected in all of my social media accounts and all of my branding. It's something that you'll get used to. It's on brand. It's on point. It's something that I've been thinking about and like toying with for years. And then finally, I met someone in Texas online. Like, it's crazy how God works. But he gave me the sauce and was like, it was the missing piece to be like, man, okay, I could really do this because he coaches. And you love it when people don't gatekeep, because he could have gatekept that information or charged me for that information, right? Everybody wants you to buy a class. But he was like, nah, bro, this is what you do. He shared his screen with me and everything, and bang, 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 do this, do that. This is what I use. And now here we are, expedited the process. God really sends the people in your life that you need at the moment you need them, man. And you can't forsake those people. You really got to appreciate those people when they come into your life, man. But oh God, true it. God. But Yeah, that is my announcements. Life coaching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. All those people that I told you to invite to the cookout, the ones with the, yeah, them people, I'll coach them too. Let's do it. Talk to me. But with all that aside, let's get into the episode. It's my mental health journey part 3. If you stuck around this long, thank you, because now we really about to get into it. So this podcast, Daily Dimensions, was birthed from a place of experience, growth, pain, passion, a lot of different things. You know, I took my lemons and turned them into lemonade, and now here we are. Like, this is literally a lemons into lemonade situation. When I started, if I put it plainly, I was operating in a place where I felt like my life was in shambles, dog. Shambles, man. I wasn't in therapy. I was in a bad relationship. I was dealing with a lot of grief. My parental relationships, I had issues that I hadn't healed from or grown from. My brother relationships were like up and down at times. There was just a lot of tension in my household. I wasn't necessarily happy with what I was doing or where I was. I was working overnight shifts. I was depressed and sad. Then I got a new job that was like just terrible, but it was a blessing, but it was terrible. And like, there was so much happening. And I challenge y'all, if this is your first My Mental Health Journey episode you're listening to, go back to 2 and go back to 1. And it's like, you'll really see what Daily Dimensions is about. I think those 3 episodes, like the 2 before and the one you're listening to right now, really speak to what Daily Dimensions is about. And it's about a journey of growth and discovery. And I wrote this in my notes. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just show up. And I knew that if I stayed silent about the things I deal with, I wouldn't be able to help anybody else. And by helping others, I've been also better at helping myself. I think this platform has held me to a level of accountability where I have to like live the life I talk to you all about. And these mental health journey check-ins is me letting y'all know I'm still living that life that I'm talking to y'all about. There are a lot of people out there who speak one way that like will be master motivators, really good with words, have you thinking, and you be like, oh my God, this person's so smart. They're so profound. Wow, that was deep. And then you look at the fruit of their life, or you look at the way they move in life, and you're like, none of that. That's not okay. But then we hold on to those people's words, and it's like, but if we really pay attention to people, when you really know yourself, it helps you to better know other people. And we, through the words, people are really good with words and will sell you a dream, but a lot of people are not living the way that they say they are, or living the things that they speak about, or will tell you this is what you need to do and will not be doing none of it themselves. When I get on this platform and tell you to go to therapy, it's because I went to therapy twice. You know, when I get on here and say you need to deepen that relationship with God, it's because I was in a bad place with God. And I fixed it. I got rebaptized as a 30-year-old man and rededicated myself. You know, when I tell you, like, you got to go forgive people, it's because I've forgiven people that have done terrible things to me and turned my life upside down. And I still love them, and I still forgive them, and I still choose to love the way God loves, because that's what we're called to do. So it's like these mental health check-ins are so important. These episodes are so important. And these are just like a culmination of God. Yeah, I need my water, but I'm not going to get up and get it. And I know I'm rolling right now. Like I was really flowing, and then I threw the flow off. But we're back. But this is a culmination of all of those things, man. And it's just been a journey of growth and discovery. And I'm so excited. I'm so happy. And even in my frustration, I still find ways to be happy and be excited. And I think I'm at my happiest when I'm sitting here talking to y'all. I be having some rough weeks, yo. Like some real rough weeks. And then once I sit here and start talking, it's just like this little 20 minutes we have together be feeling amazing. It really does something for me, yo. And I'm glad that it does something for y'all. But getting into a lot of the recent developments, the most recent one happened yesterday, literally yesterday. My mother apologized to me about some things that had happened when I was younger. No need to really get into what those things were, but it was just like just sitting right there. My mother apologized. And it wasn't those like you got to twist an arm to get an apology, or like you got to make someone understand your side to get the apology, or we went back and forth for a while and then they apologized. It was simply, I explained myself. I explained what happened. I explained how it made me feel. And it was met with, I'm sorry. This is where I was at the time. Doesn't make it right. I was doing my best. I'm sorry. And y'all don't know how rare that is. Not just for that to have happened, but like for parents in general to apologize. Parents apologizing is so healing for a child, because there are some things that happen when you're a parent, and I'm not a parent, but like this is just me knowing, bro. Like it's just a certain level of wisdom. Like you are bound to mess up at some point as a parent, and sometimes you won't know the gravity of that mistake or the gravity of that action or what happened until that child is older and it's fully matured into something that they now have to work through, or it's reflected in how they live and the choices they make and how they treat other people, or how they treat their kids now, or how they operate in relationships. And sometimes you may never notice it and they may never notice it, and you won't be able to connect it to like, oh, my child does this because I did this to them when they were younger. And it happened only one time, but all it takes is one time to traumatize somebody. All it takes is one time to have that impact on somebody. You know how we sit here and we say you only get one chance at a first impression, because a first impression is really powerful. All it takes is one time to slip up as a parent, and it's like, man, that kid now has to work through something later on in life. And sometimes you don't even know what happened, or you feel like it's not that big a deal, or like you massage the situation well in that moment, and next thing you know, your kid needs some couch time later on in life. It's like, we got to work through those things. But being open as a parent when your child says, hey, mom or dad, this is what happened between me and you, and this is how it made me feel. And a lot of times, not just parents, but anybody who's like approached in that way will be like, oh, well, my bad. This is why it happened. So like, don't be mad at me, and it's like, no, just apologize. Like, and I've sat here and done videos on how to apologize, and it's like, just apologize, like you can give me the explanation as to why it happened, or, and like, that's cool. It helps me to better understand you, but it doesn't erase anything. So it's like, you still need to apologize. And some parents will minimize your situation or make you feel like you're bugging. They'll start gaslighting you. And it's like, what? Or then they hit you with it. That never happened. And it's like, oh, well, I wouldn't be feeling this strongly if it didn't happen. I know you may have forgotten because it wasn't important, but I've been living with this my whole life. So that was very refreshing. That literally happened yesterday. And I was like, man. And I even said to her, I was like, parents are different. I said, with my relationship with my father and trying to heal that relationship, I worked through that with my therapist, and I'm like, I know my dad is not probably ever going to apologize. So I was like, I kind of just have to meet him where he's at, because like, that's just him. And that was a tough one to swallow, but our relationship has grown since. With my mother, I was like, at some point, I know she could do it. I just didn't think it was going to be yesterday. But the conversation just happened. It wasn't even like I approached her like, hey, we need to talk. We was talking about other things, and it just came up, and I'm like, let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And it went well, and that's a beautiful thing, because I struggled at times coming up feeling like I could talk to my mom and feel understood, because like, never really felt like she understood me, kind of thing. So yeah, we got somewhere with that, man. And that was refreshing. It was dope. It was a great feeling. I was so excited about it. Man, it was great. Getting into the next thing, we're like talking about my mom already, tapping into my dad. My dad's all right. he hit me, he called me the other day, and I'll be answering the phone from my dad now, like consistently. And I'm excited about that because some of y'all who were there, like y'all know when my dad would call me, I would watch that thing ring for years. I would not answer that phone. But yeah, we talked and he said something to me that like is on brand with who he is and is on brand with a lot of parents, especially if you got a parent that's from another country. Like he understands that this is what I do, right? For the last probably, I think like 3 years now, full time, every day of the year, I'm a podcast host. I am a life coach now. I'm a professional speaker. That's me. That's my job. That's what I do. He calls me. It's not the first time he's done this, but we're talking and you could tell something's off with him, bro. I don't know. But we're talking and and one of the things he said, and you know, people don't realize how these things really affect people, but it's good that I'm such a strong person. But he was like, yeah, so, you know, are you still doing that? I'm like, in my head, I'm like, nigga, this is my job. Yes, I'm still doing it. What? And then he was like, yeah, you know, how is it financially and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I mean, it's not where I'd like it to be, but God has kept me going, you know, a lot longer than I thought I would. Like, wait 3 times as long as I thought I would. God has sustained me, and I'm happy with that. You know, and I was telling him, I said, being an entrepreneur is the toughest thing I've ever done. And I've done a lot of tough things in my life. But the toughest thing I've ever done is decide to be an entrepreneur. And I know my other entrepreneurs can feel me because you literally are everything and do everything. And you wake up every day feeling like this either succeeds or fails because of you. And that's a lot of pressure to have on you every single day, especially when it's a small business and you don't necessarily have the biggest team. And then even when you have a team, being responsible for that team, you know, until you get to that level where you're so separated from the day-to-day operations of what's happening and the team is self-sustaining and self-sufficient, a lot of that rests on you. And that's a lot. But, you know, he was asking, like, basically it was a matter of, do you still do that? And then he was like, you don't do anything else? And I'm like, no, I don't do anything else. Like, what? You know, so it came from a place of like, I don't think you understand how big it is what I'm doing. How time consuming it is, how difficult it is, but also how rewarding it is, how I'm changing lives, how I'm building communities, how I'm breaking barriers, and how we're helping people to be the best versions of themselves, and how fulfilling that is, and how happy I am with that. And a part of it, I don't think he can truly understand because, like, I don't know if my father ever found what makes him happy in a healthy way. You know, growing up watching my dad, if I had to guess what made him happy, it's just being around people. Being around people makes my father happy. He is very much this social butterfly, and that I truly believe does not know how to be alone or does not function well alone. And it's like he lives to be around people and he finds his joy from being around people. And I think that's what makes my dad happy. But as far as like when you're a kid and you're like, yo, I want to do this when I get older, I don't know if he's accomplished any of those things. And like, when you get to a point in life where you've never done that or never really found that purpose in your life or never really like gotten to where you thought you would be, or you feel like you're missing something, or like life, you know, whatever it may be, it's hard to really understand someone else who is living in purpose and someone else who has found joy in that. And it's really hard to understand people who don't do things for money. You know, like, yes, I want to live a certain lifestyle and be able to afford a certain lifestyle. But by no means am I driven by money. I'm driven by purpose and assignment. And not everybody can speak the same language as me. Not everybody can speak the same language as you. Some of us are here on a mission, you know. Some of us are here because God called us to be here. Some of us are answering that call, and some of us are running from that call. And some of us, you know, are somewhere caught in between and trying to live 2 lives. But like, Not everybody can speak the same language as you, and the people that get you will get you, and the people that don't will show themselves. And I don't think my father gets me in that regard. And does that bother me? Yes, but does it consume me like it would have when I was younger? Absolutely not. And I understand that, again, I have to meet him on his level, because his realm of understanding for a lot of things, he surprises you. Sometimes he'll say something to you and it's like, man, that's a whole lot of wisdom. And sometimes he'll say something to you and it's like, man, what are we talking about right now? Why would you share this with me? So that's been interesting, man. My relationship with my dad is in a good place, but he finds ways to present challenges that we navigate through. But me being in a better space, in a healed space, is able to handle that level of conversation and not be like, man, my father isn't proud of me or whatever it may be. I think he just doesn't understand where I am, and he's attempting to understand it, but is not understanding it successfully. Yeah, because I do so many things and they're so dope. And then, like, my father sucks at being punctual. I told y'all in my baptism episode, my man showed up late to the baptism and missed me being baptized. And then when I spoke at Yale, by the time he showed up to Yale, I was already done speaking. And it's like, I'm happy he's making the effort to get there, but it's like, bro, be on time. You know what I'm saying? Like, really be there to see me do what I do. Because I'm inviting you. I want you to be a part of these things. And yes, you're making an effort to show up. But like, for my baptism, he showed up, caught the service. We took pictures at the end, but he didn't see nothing. And I had to send him the video. And then even with Yale, he showed up. We was done. And then they served us food at the end. He's eating this plate of food. And I'm like, bro, you wasn't even here. So it's a lot. Not too much on my dad, but like, it's an interesting man. And like, I'm so happy I'm in the space I am now, because the younger me would have like blacked. Like, me and him, we used to really like argue to the point where like I was ready to swing. I never did, but I was ready. All right. I was ready, dog. So that's my dad. That's where that's at. Grief is another thing. As I mentioned in a few episodes prior, I lost my cousin Nick. I had driven to Virginia back in April to go see him for his birthday, and it was a beautiful moment. And I'm so glad that I did it. And thank you to everybody who was there to help me make that happen. Because that was a process to get down there. Boy, it was a process. And coming back was a process. So I'm grateful to the people who allowed me to be able to get there to see my cousin. But that be hitting me sometimes, man. I miss my cousin. I miss my family. And I had a cousin pass away last year, my cousin Freddie. And I miss him too. I'll be thinking about him. And then also my friend Carlos, who was like literally my best friend. I have a few best friends and he was one of them, bro. And we met through work when I was working overnight. He was there through some of the most difficult times of my life. And he watched me. We prayed together. We cried together. He introduced me to his family. He met my family. We went to church together. And this is a dude who was twice my age, like way older than me. And that was my best friend, dog. And he passed away last year. And I think about him daily, man, like a lot. And I miss him to this day, man. So navigating that grief has been a journey like no other, because it's as you know, it's a roller coaster, and you'll go periods of time where you're like, man, I'm straight, I'm good. It wasn't even in your head at all. And then the next day out of nowhere, it's like, this is all I'm thinking about. This is challenging. What is happening here? So that's been a lot for me, man. And I've been, I have the tools in place to navigate it successfully. And I feel like I am navigating it successfully. Grief is hard. Sometimes you might miss people for the rest of your life. It be like that, but it's not something that drives me into a deep depression and I can't get out of my bed and I'm not eating and I'm losing sleep and all those things like that. Like it hasn't put me in that place like it normally would have. But boy, I miss my people, and I struggle with, losing people, not only because I miss them, but because I feel a level of responsibility to carry all of these people with me on my journey. and to impact these people and change their lives. And sometimes I really just be hoping like, man, did I do right by this person before they left? You know, did I tell them I love them enough? Did I impact their life enough? Did I share God with them enough? Like, were we, you know, like, did I do enough? And I think that be hitting me. And like sometimes, you know, when I feel like I didn't, or I feel like I could have done something, I'm like, man, if only, you know, if only I was able to get them to come to one of my events, or if only I was able to like speak to them one more time. It's a lot of those things, man. So grief is a lot. Also like grieving relationships, you know, I've been actively working through that. That's something that's like, you know, because when you do life with people and all of a sudden you don't, and then you got to pretend like you ain't do life with somebody. You got to pretend like you ain't live with somebody, and like not pretend, but like you just got to move forward. That'd be a lot, man. But I also feel like I'm navigating that successfully. It just comes with its ups and downs. It comes with its challenges. But I know that there is a level of work to be done that is getting done. And I'm excited for what the future holds in my life. And I know that it's going to be great. I know that it's going to be blessed. I know my wife will be blessed. I know my relationships, my kids, everything will be blessed. Just being patient in when it comes, and finding, I don't even want to say finding myself. I know myself. Can't even say that. That's a flex. But deepening the understanding of myself, growing with myself, and growing closer to God, even more so than I already have. And just finding joy in everything else in between, and not letting that be my identity. And pouring into other areas of my life that I may have neglected. So I've been finding my way through that. But yeah, it's been grief in a lot of areas, man. But we navigate it all. Grief is so hard. That's why we had to put that in the top of the list and work through that. But we're gonna get through the rest of the list. I know I told y'all this a while ago, but I'm no longer in therapy. I'm super excited. It feels weird to not be in therapy. I've been out of therapy like basically all year, but you know, it's like it did its job. and the people I've worked with, they're always like, yeah, therapy shouldn't be forever. You know, you should. And like, they're like, my goal is to get you the tools, and boy, they got me the tools, and I feel like I'm equipped. And I know, you know, maybe there may be a time I go back. Maybe there may be a time I need that extra support, and I'm open to that. But right now, I'm in a really good space, you know, like, and one thing with it all is like, therapy doesn't eliminate your problems. I think there's this idea sometimes with people who are in therapy or thinking about it, that like it makes your problems go away. And therapy doesn't make your problems go away. What it does is, out of many things that it does, one of the things it does is that it helps you to understand why you are the way you are, and lets you know what really needs to be fixed in order to adjust who you are. You know, if I'm a people pleaser and I never got to the root of why I'm a people pleaser, I might still stay that way, you know? And so there's a lot of different things that therapy does, but that's one of them. But also it gives you the tools to handle any future situations. It's literally training for life, you know? Like when you sign on to a new job and they train you, is because like, we're giving you the tools now to be able to handle all these situations in the future that come with this role. Therapy, along with faith, prepares you to handle everything that comes with the role of being alive and being a human and navigating this crazy world we live in. So it gives you all of those tools. And once you have those tools and know how to apply those tools, and you have the blueprint, nothing can stop you. Like therapy and being healed, like it's a superpower. So I encourage everybody to tap into it. I've tried to get friends into it. Some of them I've gotten them connected successfully. Some of them outright was like, nah, I'm straight. But I see you and I'm like, you need that. But so that's been a thing. No longer in therapy. One big thing that I really want to spend some time on is, and then maybe this will be the last thing I say because there's so many other things, but I know I don't want to talk y'all ear off, but I'm excited, man. And you see my posture if you're watching the video. I've just been in this space. Normally you see hands and this and that and boom, bam, boom, but I've just been here in this space. Like, man, this is really it, you know? And like the notes is bullet points, but the words is from the heart. And man, that was a bar too. I'll be surprising myself when I say things sometimes. I'll be like, dang, Jordan, you said that. You a smooth operator, dog. You smooth. But it's a gift. But reestablishing my value. Reestablishing my value has been an amazing thing for me. Because I think somewhere along life, and it started really young. I think I lost who I was, and not that I didn't know who I was, but the things I connected my self-worth to, or connected my value to, or connected my usefulness to, were rooted in people pleasing and lack of boundaries. You know, I felt like serving others is where I found my value. But because I didn't have boundaries, I served too much. And it was points in times where I found myself overextending, basically at times being taken advantage of or used or manipulated. And I justified it because it's like, no, I'm serving the people I love. I'm taking care of the people I love. I'm doing things for the people I love. And just because you love those people, or those people may be family or whatever it may be, like, you still got to have a boundary, because if you don't say no, they won't stop asking. And I'm going to say that again. If you don't say no, they won't stop asking. And the more you say yes, is the more they're going to ask. And the more you make yourself accessible, is the more they're going to come to you. And I was a super accessible, never say no, always say yes, give everybody 100%, give myself 50 kind of person. And I would do that because I felt like that's how I needed to be loved. For someone to love me, I had to serve them. And that's really flawed. I would set myself up to be taken advantage of, boy. But that was my operation, you know, like that's the way I navigated life, you know, and not even realizing it. And I had to rework a lot of that and unlearn a lot of that. And it's like, my value is not rooted in what I do for you. And you should be honored that I do the things that I do for you, because nobody else does it like me. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else is me. And I don't have to do half of this stuff, but I do it because I care and because I love you. And, you know, I had to really love myself, establish boundaries, be confident in who I am, understand that my worth is not tied to who's next to me or who I serve or who I love or what I do for people. My value is simply rooted in who I exist to be, who I am, who I wake up every day as. And like, that's the value. And anything else I do is just extra, you know, it's just the cherry on top. And reestablishing my value has been such an amazing thing, because once you know who you are, you don't settle for less. And I made a video a while back when I was like, put a price tag on your life. Put a price tag on your life and make people pay the price. And I was allowing people, multiple people, to access my life at a supreme discount that was very below what I'm actually worth. And in doing so, I lowered my value. You know, if you get a diamond ring that's like worth $10,000, but you sold it for 50, you lowered the value of that item. If we just started selling them for $50, you're undercutting a lot of things. If you start selling homes for $100K below market price, you start selling cars for $5,000 below market price, you're hurting the value. And I was giving away all of this free game, all of this love and affection and attention and effort, a lot of effort, resources, money, everything. I was giving it away at a supreme discount because I felt like I had to. And I wasn't getting what I needed in return in a lot of areas from a lot of people. And now that I know who I am, I really don't settle for less. And now that I know who I am, at the level of partner I look for is different too. Um, I'd be ready to just unfollow everybody on my Instagram, man, because it's like once you there be this is like diving into a different area, but it's like it's gonna make sense. It already makes sense. But I used to have a certain taste, I guess. I don't know how to really describe it or what the words will come to me. But like, how you like filter out who you want to talk to and who you don't want to talk to. My filter settings was set to, do I find you attractive or not? Right. And that's kind of where it stopped. Now it's like I be seeing people and I'm like, yeah, okay, you're pretty, but what else? Like, you know what I'm saying? And because I follow you on social media and I see how you live, it's like, this is disgusting. And not saying they doing anything crazy, but it's like your life is nowhere near what I desire or how I live. Disgusting is such a harsh word, but like it's the right word. Like it's disgusting, repulsive, if you will. And I'm like, I don't want to be a part of any of that. I don't I don't know if I want this person to raise my kids. Like I'll be thinking like that. I'm like, if I was in a jam, would this person hold me down? How are they as a mom? If I needed somebody to pray for me, can they pray? Do they know how to pray? Can they cook? Because a lot of y'all just be buying seafood boils and be seafood boils and Don Julio all summer, and I'm tired of seeing it. But it weeds out a lot of people, and a lot of that comes from like understanding who I am. And it's like I can't just attach myself to anybody. I can't just be next to anybody because you got to represent me well. And I can't just be out here with anybody. It's like if Barack Obama was married to Sexy Red, we can't have Sexy Red be the first lady. And she looked crazy standing next to him. He looked crazy standing next to her. Like that's a real big example, but like that's what it is. Like if I see myself as Barack, I'm not gonna marry Sexy Red. I'm not gonna marry a Meg Thee Stallion. I'm not gonna marry a Glorilla. Like none of that. You know what I'm saying? They look good. Well, not sexy. Sexy look crazy. But they look good, but can't do it. You're not good for the brand, man. You're not gonna represent me well. And it's just not happening. So knowing my self-worth has increased my filter settings to a lot of different things. And I'm like, you gotta meet a lot of criteria. And that weeds out so many people. And it's like, no, I'm not even interested. Knowing your self-worth is huge thing, because you won't allow a lot of nonsense to perpetuate in your life, because you won't allow those same people access to your life. And once you know better, you do better, ideally. But I like to say, and I've said it before, like you get to a point in life where you're too smart to be dumb. You know what I'm saying? And we just got to make better decisions. And a lot of those better decisions come from having a higher self-worth, at least for me. So yeah, I really love myself. I know who I am. I stand on business. In my best Drewski voice, I stand on business, man. And it's been a wonderful journey, this mental health journey. I've grown so much. I've navigated so much. I've been through so much. I still navigate a lot of things, but I'm at peace, and even though things be mad turbulent in my life and I be frustrated and I be like annoyed or confused and worried, and I go through a full range of emotions every week, from happy to sad and everything in between. I go through a full range of emotions every week, but I have the tools to navigate them. And I think that's the real success here. And not only do I have the tools, but because I have them, my kids will have them. You know what I'm saying? Like quite literally, me doing this is undoing generations of trauma generations of not healing, generations of bad communications, generations of failed relationships, generations of poor health, generations of a lot of things. Like me doing this work and me just doing everything I'm doing right now, I'm changing my family for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I really think about that. And yes, I navigate all these things. I feel these things every week, but we get through it successfully. And boy, that's amazing, because I'm not only am I changing the world around me, but I'm changing the world that comes from me. And I love that. So it's been a lot, we've gone through so much. We didn't even really tap into everything on the list. But you know what? You're already here. I'm gonna give y'all one more thing on the list as far as my mental health journey. And this was stirred up from my other best friend. Me and her had a conversation, and it's been on my mind ever since. So this is your fault. But we had a conversation, and I had another conversation with my mom. This was, what I'm saying, about growing apart from people. And that is a blessing, because it means you're growing. It's just rough. I don't even want to say it's a curse. It's just challenging, because you see people that you have fond memories with not moving in the direction that you're moving, or not supporting you in the way that you need to be supported, not loving you in the way that you need to be loved. Almost like you're like fighting to maintain that relationship. And this is me speaking about friends, but I mean, it could be literally anybody. People grow apart. And, if you've been here long enough on this daily dimensions journey, I feel like from a personal development standpoint, from a growth standpoint, from a spirituality standpoint, from a mental health standpoint, from a values perspective, priorities, all of those different things, you've seen me. And even if you've known me before daily dimensions, you've seen me here, right? And you've seen me do this, right? Go up, like grow, ascend, slow and steady, but ascending. Not to say I'm any higher or better than anybody, but like doing this, like a natural progression. And there are a lot of people in my life who've been doing this right here, and maybe that, but mostly this. And our values change. Like we don't connect over the same things that we used to. We don't bond over the same things that we used to. And there are a lot of people in my life that still live in the places that I grew out of, that still live in the places that I've moved out of, and can only connect with me on the level of where they still live. And, I've moved out of being that person that needs to be at every single party, the person that needs to drink, the person that needs to be lit, the person that's always looking for something to do, the person that's always trying to be around people, the person that's always trying to like dabble in fun that ain't really fun, that's always talking about women, that's always doing this and that. Like I want to post a picture one day of who I was before. Like if y'all really see me before and I was like Smitty, I was outside Smitty. My Instagram name used to be Hoes on Smitty. Like I was outside for real. And I loved the people and the people loved me. But it wasn't for the greatest of reasons. But now people love me for the right reason. I love people for the right reason. But you know what I'm saying? I was in the club with the fur coat on at Ready Whip. With the, you know what I'm saying? I showed up to the club. We was what was it? I forget the name of the party, but we was wilding out. I had a bathrobe on. Like I passed out in bushes. I done been in a lot of different places, man. I used to drive great lengths to go to a function, you know what I'm saying? 2 hours plus, 3 hours plus, don't matter. We going and it's lit, turn up. And there are people in my life who still live in that place. And as you see, I no longer live in that place. I go to church, bro, every Sunday and I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I've found friends and relationships in church that are so fruitful and fulfilling. And I've known these people for a fraction of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like going on walks. I like to go hiking. I like to sit by the water. I like nature. You know what I'm saying? I like riding bikes. I like being outside. I like gardening. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like looking at birds. I started taking pictures of birds the other day. It was a bird in my apple tree. And I'm like, what is that? I've never seen that before. You know, you take the picture and then you try and Google search it and see what it was. And I'm like, I ain't never seen that in my yard. I've seen a woodpecker, all types of stuff. I be noticing I'm in a different space. And there are a lot of people in my life that still live in that space that I moved out of. And we just don't connect no more. And that's rough because there's, again, you've known these people for decades and you have all these fond memories, but there's just nothing keeping that connection there no more other than the memories. And when you get to that point where your relationship is built on memories and not present day activities, when it's built on the past and not a future, you know, it's just, it's that time. It's that time. And like, I've just been pulling back, you know. And I told my friend, the one who started this conversation with me, I was like, you know, I stay in close enough proximity so that I can still be an example of how to live. And also I can be a resource to people if that's what they choose. But I don't stay close enough that like I need to really be in your life day to day, every day like that. Like a certain level of pullback is necessary, but I don't want to completely like just nix everything because I want to be a resource. But sometimes also is understanding that like not every battle is mine to fight. Not every person is mine to reach, and not everything needs to come through me or happen through me. Sometimes it's for someone else to figure out. You know, sometimes it's for God to step in and navigate that with that person. And it's not my assignment. So at the end of the day, I'm here to help the people God wants me to help and do the things God wants me to do. But those relationships growing apart, boy, oh boy, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. So I think in every capacity, God has been rearranging the relationships in my life. He's been removing people that need to be removed. He's been putting people in different positions that they need to be in for their own growth and development. He's been working on me. He's been adding people into my life that really are here for the right reasons. He's been giving me the support. I haven't lacked anything, which is great. And I know that all these things are going to work out the way that they should. Just got to go through the process. So I appreciate y'all going through this process with me, listening to this episode. I know this one was a bit longer. Wasn't as long as that Was I On Key episode, but that one was great start to finish too. Boy, I loved it. But here we are. This is my mental health journey part 3. I'm excited. This is probably the first one where I ain't up here super duper sad. Maybe I don't know, but I'm excited and I feel good. I'm living good. I'm doing better. And I know all things are going to work out. You know, I'm excited. I have the tools. We're going to keep making waves. Pull it to the cookout. If you need a life coach, know someone who needs a life coach, whatever it may be, connect them to me. I love y'all. Until next time, this is Daily Dimensions. Peace.